Hey,
I'm still
good
going.
morning. Okay, well, I have a song for you to
Oh,
continue.
do
Hold
you?
on. Hold on. I really feel like this morning we still need some grooving,
Okay.
right? So, good morning, Nora. Good morning, Paul. Good to see you. So, we just got to stay up this morning. 'Cause as you know, we had a devastating loss. Wasn't
Well,
so
it's funny. I just
devastating.
was posted
Somebody's
something
got
on my.
to win. Somebody's got to lose.
I just posted something on my Facebook page about all that because it's just it's a tough Monday morning if you're in Kansas City. For those of you that are tuning in from outside of the city, because not only did our team lose yesterday, but we have 2 weeks of sub-zero temperatures ahead of us. So we need you to brighten our day, Sandy. We need you to come into our lives. You know, that sunshine, Sandy. You know,
That's
the
why
Sandy. You know, the Florida Sandy.
The Florida Sandy. Yes, Florida
Yeah,
Sandy. So
exactly.
that's why I have this peppy music. It's called "You Light Me Up."
Okay.
That's exactly what it's called. Are y'all dancing? Come on, you gotta dance. You gotta keep it going. Good morning, Heather. Good morning, Pam. Good morning, Larry. Good morning. Good morning. It's Monday morning. Woo!
Yeah, it's funny because I'm a cheesehead from Wisconsin. That's how I grew up. And it's like I'm looking out my window this morning going, am I in Kansas City or am I up in Green Bay? You know what I mean? It's like it is. It looks
you
like
can take your
I'm
Green
like looking
Bay.
outside looking for snowmobiles because I grew up in a culture where, when, all winter long people were on their snowmobiles. And so
fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, in Wisconsin, if you go to northern Wisconsin up there, where people have cabins on lakes,
yes,
they have snowmobile trails, and so I don't think with COVID they do it as much, but in the wintertime you get on your snowmobile and you bar hop, or you
My
travel to
ex-brother-in-law
different
had
places
one,
on your snowmobile through the
my
woods.
ex-brother-in-law had one in Ohio.
Yeah.
He loved it. Okay, there. Michael, we're headed back to KC. Oh joy. Oh yeah. I don't know if I could
Mikey
go.
can't complain. He should be going cha-ching, cha-ching because he's got a snow removal service, and we have nothing but snow and ice ahead of us for 2 weeks. So he should be smiling, paying for his trip.
That groundhog, Phil.
Yeah.
I don't like Phil.
You want to poison Phil? You want to poison his food?
Phil needs to take it back.
Okay.
That stinks. But
you want to divorce Phil?
Yes. But Phil, you're done. You're done, Phil.
Phil's out of here.
Oh, but I do feel bad for Michael and Tina. I can't. No, I could not do 85 to back to this. Nah, that would not be. Yeah. That would not be pleasant. I'd be like, okay.
So do I get to wax in on the game yesterday?
Do you need to? Okay, so let's because I'm sunshine and happy.
Okay.
I mean, huh.
Well,
that hurt. That hurt me. I was watching going, this is hurt. This hurts. This hurts. And then I drank a Red Bull right before.
Oh dear.
That was not smart. No Red Bull before a Chiefs game. It's my fault probably because I didn't have my Chiefs face covering. I called my son and I said, "Do you have my Chiefs thing?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh no, they're gonna lose now." So no, of course now the joke is that it's my fault.
There's a practical side to this for people who are either sports fans or non-sports fans. And you ever hate to be right? I had that yesterday. I had this terrible feeling like I wish I would have been wrong. But to put this in perspective, the Bucks played the Packers a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And right before the NFC Championship game, their all-pro starting left tackle, David Bakhtiari, tore his ACL.
Oh,
right.
Wow. Yeah.
So, I mean, you're talking about an all-pro, the best left tackle in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the game, and guess what happened? The defensive line for the Bucks just tormented Aaron Rodgers the whole game, right? And they made a game out of it, But I mean, Rodgers was just under pressure, and it was from the left side continually. You know,
Right.
because the backup guy
Yeah.
is as good as he just wasn't David Bakhtiari, and it was ridiculous, right? So I was telling some friends that when Eric Fisher went down, who was the starting left tackle for the Chiefs, I go,
Yes.
this is like deja vu. I said, I would not be surprised if the
Right.
Super Bowl plays out exactly like the NFL championship and Patrick Mahomes gets no time to throw the ball. And I watched that game yesterday going, oh my God, I was right. I don't want to be right, but that's exactly what happened. I mean, I have never seen a quarterback who had like no time to throw the ball.
Right. They were just
brutal.
going. They were just going. They did not let him throw.
Well, so
that was
the reason they lost is very practical. You know what I mean? It's and one of the things about sports, if you're not a sports fanatic like some of us are, is that when it's a team game, there's a few guys. There's usually 2 or 3 guys that are superstars that get all the limelight. But the reality of it, to win a championship, there's a whole bunch of unsung heroes, like people that you know. And yesterday was a prime example of it because the Chiefs' offensive line just got dominated. Like, I mean, absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
And so those are the guys that when you win, you don't hear about them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But it was really
Heather's not happy. Yeah. He ran almost 500 yards before passing the ball. Yeah, that's because he was running from them.
Exactly. But
run it back.
You know, Eric Fisher gets a lot of flack sometimes in Kansas City, but you realize just how valuable he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about, it seemed like Tampa Bay, I mean, Mahomes would get the ball, and as he was going backwards, they were on top of him. So he just kept running.
It was
So it was a brilliant strategy, you know, because football,
from the Bucs side. Yeah.
From a football perspective, what happens during the week between games is you are looking for advantages. You know what I mean? And so you're looking at, what are our strengths? What are their weaknesses? How can we get our strengths against your weaknesses?
Yeah.
Well, they have a great defensive line, and our offensive line was hurting. And so and they were smart. They did exactly what they should have done. They ended up, you know, if you give Patrick Mahomes time to throw the ball, he's going to destroy it. They didn't give him any time.
Right.
So
that was their strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Michael says we lost 4 of our 5 starting linemen. Yep.
Yeah. Well, the one guy, they talked about him before the game. You know, he was a Canadian guy, and he decided to, do COVID relief. We lost Fisher, a week before or 2 weeks before that. Their starting right tackle was out. So it was,
Yeah. And I mean, it was the Super Bowl. So, I mean, the Bucs came.
Yeah. So what happens when you've got a defensive line that's putting that much pressure, then the back end, which are the defensive backs, they can stay back there and cover. And that's exactly what happened. So if you can put pressure on the quarterback, then your back end of your defense is got all day. And that's they actually a brilliant strategy where they use their strength against our weakness and dominating performance.
Well, and Patrick was hurt, and he was rebounding from some things. So, and he admitted it. He's like, they just outplayed us. He was like, their strategy.
Well, the other thing
if
you noticed during the game, and it's the reason why it's so difficult to repeat back-to-back championships, is Tampa Bay was hungry and amped up and had energy, and the Chiefs looked flat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when you look, if you go back and watch the game, you'll see Tampa Bay, they are just intense and you know what I mean? But they were hungry because they hadn't won a championship, and they had Tom Brady on their side, and it was like, and the Chiefs had been there last year. I mean, they'd won, they lost once in the last, right? So it was almost like the Chiefs looked pedestrian to me yesterday. It looked like they went in there. They just thought our high-powered offense, you know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of they weren't hungry like last year. They were so hungry. You saw
Right.
it, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, they got plenty of time to work this one out.
Sound like me trying to pull a silver lining out of this, but
So,
it's
yeah.
true. I guarantee that for a young guy like Patrick Mahomes,
you'll be hungry this year.
Losing the Super Bowl is going to be a motivation for next year.
Well, and one of the other players who I watched said that. He said we just, maybe we should have
embarrassed.
Yeah.
So they've got they're going to play. Andy Reid will use that next year. They'll play with a chip on their shoulder because they got embarrassed. So
well,
it's interesting.
I was mad. I mean, come on, Tom Brady and Gronk. I mean, come on, the Patriots reinvented in Florida. What? Y'all got tired of the cold, eh?
But again, I mean, I appreciate Tom Brady. He played really well. But the truth of the matter was, Tom Brady wasn't the reason they won the game.
No.
That's why I said this yesterday. It's a shame you have to have an MVP and it's a single person. Because if I was going to give an MVP, I would have given it to their whole defensive line. Their defensive line was the game changer.
I agree.
They were guys as a unit. They were the MVPs of the game.
Yep. So hey, if
Tom
you
Brady just took advantage of everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You did. And so mugs up, everybody. Whatever you got in your mug, you might have something stronger in your mug today. I'm not sure.
Well, if you're from Kansas City, now if you're from Florida, you're down there, you're happy, and it's warm.
Well, you might have something else in your drink this morning too. Okay, I'm just saying. Florida. So mugs up, everyone. It's gonna be all right.
Now we've analyzed the game.
It's gonna be all right.
we're stuck here in this reality that we lost the game. And it's freezing cold for the next 2 weeks. So,
still representing my team. Whatever.
So, Sandy, how are we going to dig ourselves out of this? We're in a rut now. It's Monday morning. We're kind of like hungover from losing the game. We look outside. It's freezing cold out there.
How are we going to do it here?
How are we going to deal this week?
I'm going to flow this one up there.
All right.
Now may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing that you may abound in hope in the power of the Holy Spirit. That's how.
Well,
because
what you're saying is we're going to shift perspective.
Yes. And here, you walk by faith, not by sight. You walk by faith and not by sight. Because we have faith, right? Chiefs will come back next year.
Well, it's not even faith. It's what you've just done is you've shifted perspectives from an earthly one to an eternal one.
Right.
Which, in light of eternity, who wins the Super Bowl has zero
to do with
it means nothing in eternity, right?
That's right.
Your Super Bowl trophy and your Super Bowl ring don't give you any advantages in the kingdom of God. You get no kudos for that.
Yeah, because if I wear this hat out today, people might boo me. I don't know.
No, nobody's going to boo you.
But
I did notice, I don't know if you noticed this, but even the whole city was subdued with their Chiefs gear this year. Like last year, it was like that 2 weeks before the Super Bowl.
I saw everybody with it on.
It was really subdued, and I'm
out.
Oh yeah, I'm out.
I didn't. Well, you're in the city.
World, it wasn't, but I'm out every day in the whole city, and I could see a very big difference. But again, people are dealing with a pandemic, so it's
right. They shifted their focus.
Yeah.
They shifted their focus onto, okay, this is a football team. It gives us some hope, but now that we went through this COVID thing, we're focused on other things in our families and that kind of thing.
Well,
I mean, half people I know have gotten vaccinations already. So
I just got a message this morning from Zimbabwe. There's an Anglican pastor there that lost his wife, two daughters, and a brother and sister all in the last week to COVID.
Oh my gosh.
So, that's what I mean when I say perspective. So I'm sitting here this morning going, bummer, man, my team lost. It's cold outside. And then I get this email about this guy who's basically this pastor, Anglican
Lost
pastor,
his whole family
because he's lost like 6 close members, not peripheral people,
oh
like
my
right
gosh
in his immediate family to COVID. And then you start going, oh, wait a minute, I need to get my priorities back here.
yeah that's what I mean. That's why I was like, okay, what those guys that they they handled it well after, and it's done. That's why it's the Super Bowl. There's got to be a winner, there's got to be a loser.
Right.
Sometimes your team is the lose.
Well, what's nice about the Super Bowl is that it's it's a few hours that we can sort of disconnect from the world we're in and kind of have disappear into that world. So my question to you is, outside of the game itself, what did you think about all of the activities, the festivities, some of the messaging that went on?
That was weird. Some of it was weird, just bizarre. I was like,
did you find that? That's interesting you said that, because I've been real hesitant to talk about it because I didn't know what. Do you know who Leni Riefenstahl is or was?
I think so.
Most people wouldn't know who she is. Leni Riefenstahl, I didn't know if I can even say her name right, was the woman who basically was the movie maker for the Third Reich. And if you can be objective about the Third Reich and go back and look, she was absolutely amazing, because what she did is she took film and her lighting, her angles, everything that she did, she created this whole image of the Third Reich as this, incredible, new age. Right. And so she was so talented that after the end, when the Third Reich fell, she was banned from Hollywood and doing any movies for the rest of her life. She just died a few years ago. But if you're objective and you go back and look at her filmmaking, it is stunning. But she was the ultimate propagandist and I kept getting this feeling as I'm watching a lot of what's going on, and I feel like I'm back in the Third Reich. Now, again, I'm not talking about politically. I'm talking about the fact that there was this push to get me to see things a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was, since I'm disconnected from the worldview, I didn't understand a lot of the commercials. I was like, what was that about? The only one that probably left, there were 2 that three that I recall. And one was the making lemonade out of lemons, where the lemons were dropping. Yeah. They showed 2020 and then the lemons were dropping, and it was a Bud Light commercial, Bud Light lemonade. I remember that one because the lemons ruined everybody's events, and they were talking about obviously COVID. And then the second one I recalled was the flat, Matthew McConaughey, the Doritos commercial, where he was walking around flat, which was actually kind of funny. But and then the John Travolta one.
Right.
And I didn't even know it was John Travolta till the end, when the people said, hey, it's the Travoltas. And I was like, that was John Travolta? I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He didn't look like John Travolta I know, but
well, I think that was it. One of the, looking at, I was even talking about what was going on during the game, like all the pregame, stuff that was going on, and a lot of the videos and the things that they were doing, even. And a lot of it was, trying to heal the country, and it was all, they were trying to inspire people. You know what I mean?
Oh, I did see the one about healing the Bruce Springsteen one. The Bruce
Heroes, and you know what I mean? And so I was watching it because it was all really good. I mean, it was, some of it really pulled at your heartstrings and stuff, but it I know this is going to sound funny, but it felt staged to me. Like it just seemed like they were pushing so hard. You know what I mean?
Well, the Bruce
I was
Springsteen one,
watching all this
especially.
going,
Yeah.
it's all good, but why do I feel weird? Like I feel like it's like it's not, I don't have a problem with your messaging. It was just like, it just felt like I was being forced.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Like
I mean, I
way
love,
too much or something. Does that make sense?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
did you see the one with Bruce Springsteen and Jeep?
Yeah, yeah. No, but I'm even talking about during, all the pre-game stuff.
Yeah.
CBS was constantly putting in these little clips and stuff, and Jim Nance was, and those guys. And I was just watching all that going, okay, the NFL's like it's like they're I don't know. It's like their whole messaging, everything about, I know what the word it was. It was all PC.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yes.
It was all about, we got to be one. We've got to, you know what I mean? And I just wondered, I was sitting there going, I wonder how people were reacting to this. I'm curious. Are you being
audience? What do you guys think?
Are you being,
What do you guys think? Put in your comments.
Yeah, I just wondered if other people felt like I did. I didn't necessarily have a problem with anything that was said. It was this weird feeling that I had as I was sitting there going, it feels staged and
well, that one that I can't, the Jeep one, I was sitting there scratching my head only because it's Bruce Springsteen and I know he's from Jersey, and so I'm confused that they put him in Kansas almost and in a farm, like in a field with the truck and
right.
I was like, what? I was like,
right.
That is so not authentic, right? Like he didn't grow up in Kansas. He's not a farmer,
right?
He's in New Jersey, a rocker, and
right.
I couldn't disconnect him from.
Well, that's
that.
Bruce. I don't know if you know the story, but Bruce, he's a Jersey boy, East Coaster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
so
he decided,
why are you putting him in the Midwest?
LA and be an LA guy and married a movie star and tried to do the whole LA scene. And that lasted for a decade or so. And he ended up getting divorced and going back to Jersey and marrying Patty, who's a Jersey girl and raised a Jersey family. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he realized that he was trying to be something he wasn't.
Well, right. And now they put him in a commercial in the Midwest. That makes no sense. All of us know he's in New Jersey. Like people, you needed to put him back in New Jersey.
Looks like Heather noticed as well. See, I was hesitant to say
anything. You guys noticed?
Yeah,
no, I noticed.
I don't know if I'm like the only one that's feeling this way or others felt the same way, but I just felt like I was watching a propaganda show. You know what I mean?
Wondered.
For the hour before, all the way until they kicked off, I felt like it was like all this propaganda, and yet it wasn't bad. It wasn't like it was propaganda towards bad stuff. It was propaganda but it all felt so staged, and it was like they were trying to manipulate me into seeing things from, and I tell you the one thing, that one line, I mean, I don't want to get political here, but there was one thing that was interesting to me was when they were talking about the the family of the officer, who died in Washington, D.C. And the way they phrased it was, validly defending the Capitol from the attack. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and I
didn't see that.
Oh yeah. That was right before the game. They were painting the box or the
I didn't
box
see
and all that. And they had the family of one of the officers who died, and the way they phrased it was he died valiantly, defending the Capitol, right? Wow. And when I because knowing what actually really went down there, I thought this is really interesting how they're phrasing that, and of course that's a perspective, right? That's but how again, this heroes, I mean, there was like all these heroes, and that's what Lanny did with the Third Reich. She the way she framed, and I mean framing like what movies the way she
Right.
framed Hitler and Goring and all these guys, it was almost like they were all heroes, you know, they were like Aryan gods, you know what I mean? And it really stirred up the population. And that's what, when I was watching this, I was going, wow, this feels just like that, you know?
Wow.
But then I felt bad because it was like, it wasn't like what they were saying was wrong. It just felt like it was all, and all the commercials were so PC.
We've changed it. I don't know. I'm gonna opt out on the agendas because it's like they've changed agendas. So I don't know what their agenda is anymore. So I'm confused.
Well, we're in a culture right now where, I mean, you're seeing this. And so let's take this one step further. Watching all of the commercials.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see? Everything was PC.
Oh, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm watching this going, oh my God. Now all of corporate America, right? Their messaging isn't even about their products necessarily, right? It's all about, I mean, they're not selling us their products.
No, they're not.
The fact that we're a corporation who's PC.
Except for Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, and again, we're generalizing here, so we could sit and pick
it was a
apart.
Doritos commercial for sure. Yeah. So he was flat. He was a flat Matthew, but it felt insincere. They were, and
it was like this weird. It was like this weird rush from corporate America to tell all of
how wonderful they are to support all of our right. They're going to support us. They're behind us.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and now, having said that, again, let me not to get too many bunny trails.
Right.
One of the things that is true about the millennial generation is that they will buy products
from companies they think are PC.
Right. And so one of the things I got to, in pondering all this, I got to thinking, maybe, because I'm older now and I'm, that older generation, the marketing is moving more towards the millennials now. Right.
Right.
And it's being spun into, their sweet spot. Like it's being focused on their and they are very socially.
Yes. I know.
Aware,
I spent some time with those people on my vacation. I know. Yeah. Oh, that company supports XYZ.
Right.
They're okay. It's like, oh, they're okay only because they back some civil thing that you think. I'm like, wow, okay. So the other companies are.
Maybe we're dealing, so we got to throw this out there. So maybe what we're dealing with is generational worldviews, right? How you and I, and maybe our parents might have viewed yesterday's advertising is one thing, and how the millennials would have viewed it is completely different.
Well, I was with a couple, that are older than me, and they didn't understand the commercials at all.
Right.
They just sat there going,
exactly.
And I was like, yeah, I agree. I'm sitting here going, hey, Matt Haas. But yeah, they were just sitting there going, what? Wait, what was that about?
So this is interesting. So these are the reason I point all this out is sometimes when you point it out to people, then they start to see it, right? So you and I grew up in a world where companies advertised their products, right? Their commercials were based on selling you either the benefit of their product, why you needed it, right? It was all about the product.
Right.
What I saw yesterday, which was so different, is they weren't selling you a product. They were selling you a corporate culture that's PC.
Right.
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 And that was the shift. And I was like, wow. This is so fascinating.
Maybe except for
they're telling all of us we're good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're socially responsible. We're, we love humanity,
right.
We care about the environment. We care about social issues. You see what I mean? It's like they were, Well, now the reason why, again,
They want
that's
you to go to
interesting
space
is
too,
that's
by the way.
exactly how Apple launched. Remember, Apple wasn't, Steve Jobs told everyone, I'm not selling technology, I'm selling a culture.
Wow. Yes, he did.
Right.
Yes,
And
he
so,
did.
in some
Yes.
ways, Steve Jobs was decades ahead because Apple is a culture. It's a, you know what I mean? It's like a
Well,
subculture.
I think that's what we're always sold. I don't know. I think, I
No,
mean,
it's just
the
now
80s,
everybody
the
else is
80s was
catching
a
up to it.
culture. I remember the 80s being a culture, and we were sold all kinds of things in that culture.
Yeah.
My generation, I recall that being everything was, but like you said, we were sold
Products or services, right?
You had to wear Gloria Vanderbilt. You had to wear Nikes. You had to wear Levi's. Like the Gap was the big store in the 80s. Everybody went to the Gap,
Now Gloria is PC. Gloria cares about the environment. Gloria cares about racial injustice. Gloria, cares about immigrants. Gloria, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the message is completely shifted.
Yeah, before you didn't know anything about what they cared about.
Right.
They
nobody
cared about
cared what
selling
your
their product.
politics were or whatever. They only wanted to know, do you have good products and services?
Yeah, I'm so glad that I took that. I mean, every time we talk about this, I go, I am so glad I took that persuasion and propaganda course.
Yeah.
Because it was so enlightening at the time. I didn't even dawn on me that was a thing until, but of course I was in I was in high school, so I didn't really know the world's happenings at that time. Hey, Christina, how you doing?
Nice to see
Matt
you. Nice to hear from you, Christina.
Yes, hello.
But it's just interesting.
She's
and
down
so
there, and
for those of you that are tuning in,
Bucks fan.
what we're doing is we're just sort of pointing out what's going on culturally, because the Super Bowl is not only a U.S. cultural event, but it's a global event. And so what we're basically discussing is that this Super Bowl, the way it was marketed, the way that it was presented, the advertising, everything was remarkably different from even last year.
Yeah.
And you could see what happened in the last 12 months. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we tuned in yesterday, and I was so aware of how different the whole presentation was from even a year ago.
Well, I was at one place before halftime, and then I moved at halftime, so I didn't get to see the halftime show. So I have no idea what the big hoopla is yet. I have yet to go watch it. So I like The Weeknd. I like his music. So I don't know what the hoopla was about.
Well, again, even at halftime, right? It was different. You know what I mean? And so again, based on your generational worldview, most of it's tough, because those of us that are a little older, that came up through the rock and roll world, I mean, there's just superstars, and yesterday, and even some of the last Super Bowls, we've had people like, who's this?
Yeah, exactly.
And
the Vince Lombardi avatar, that was a weird one.
Yeah, but I was like, but again, that was a real speech that Vince gave.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. That was kind of
neat. Okay, so now do you want to get creepy here?
Oh, creepy.
Well, because it gets down to what my book's about.
Oh, right.
See, what you just saw is, I mean, it was cool, right? Because I'm a Packer fan and I love Vince and all of it.
Yeah,
we are moving into an age with technology.
Yeah. I'd been hearing that people are saying that certain things are holograms, and I'm like, what are they talking about? Why are they talking about that?
Well, that was a 2-dimensional, but we're moving into 3-dimensional. You know what I mean? Where you literally, I mean, it's going to be weird, but we're going to be moving in within the next probably 5 years to 3-dimensional meetings, meaning that the way they can set up cameras in your boardroom.
Yeah.
Right. That you will have boardrooms where people will be in New York, but they'll be sitting, their image will be sitting in a chair in your boardroom.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Exactly.
Oh, how exciting.
So it was kind of weird. I was watching the Vince Lombardi thing going, oh, wow. Again, this is a precursor. This is, I mean, it was very inspiring, whatever. But if you extrapolate out where it's going.
Yes. And there's where people need to be aware of the dangers of some of it. I mean, it isn't like, okay, that's a neat thing. Your CEO now can, hologram into your boardroom. But I mean,
well, here's
what are the dangers of that?
Well, here's the dark side of this.
Right.
And you're seeing it already within the media, right? Which is somebody will give a speech.
Uh-huh.
And they'll take 2 lines out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And completely distort, like they take it out of context, right? So you can take anybody. I mean, you can do that with the Bible. I mean,
the Bible's done that. All the time. All the time.
And use it against you. And you're going, that's not even the context, right? Well, now with technology, you can create an image with that person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Or what's even freakier is you can put words in people's mouths. Like you can get the image to say things it never said.
Right. And they do that all the time with those certain videos have you seen the ones with the different presidents that they make them say stuff and whatever? It is kind of funny, but you're right. It's not funny if it's being deceptive. It's not funny then. But and that's the problem is you got to go, I don't know. The Jason Alexander commercial was hilarious. I don't know that one. I'll have to look that one up. I usually am a Super Bowl commercial person, but yesterday I was checked out from it.
Yeah.
I definitely did, but it was probably because my nerves were so shot over the game. I was not even paying attention.
As I've said to you, I have a spirit like flypaper. It's and I have to really be careful. So
be yes.
And over the years you kind of learn to read your own spirit. So yesterday, what it felt like to me was, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but have you ever taken like a big tablespoon of honey?
No.
All at once?
Well, honey, no, not really.
You spread it on your bread, right?
Right.
It's really yummy.
Right.
But if you take a huge tablespoon of it and put it in your mouth, like I did that once, being a stupid kid, thinking, I just need more, right? Well, it almost made me want to toss my cookies.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because it was oversweet. It overpowered you. And that's what I was feeling yesterday. I was getting this sick feeling in my stomach. Watching everything going, it's too much. It's like so over the top.
Right.
I feel like they're trying to cram something down my throat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they were like trying to open my mouth and force feed me all this sweetness. And it was just like, that was my reaction. And I started feeling guilty about it because it's honey. It's sweet, right?
Yeah. Christina was watching. Christina's a Bucks fan. So her and I were going back and forth.
Congratulations.
It's okay. And the Amazon Sexy Alexa, that was a weird one. I don't know. I didn't know. Wayne's World one was funny. The TikTok, the flat McConaughey. Yeah, those were good. Like I remembered the flat
one. There were?
Huh?
Did you notice how many beer commercials there were?
No beer.
Isn't that interesting?
Bud Light did their lemonades. That's where the lemonade.
Normally, for Super Bowls, it's beer and cars.
Yeah, well, everybody's drinking those White Claws and Trulies and Bud Light thingies. That's why. That's the culture. I did see a car. There was a car, an electric car.
The Super Bowl's been about beer and cars, or trucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dodge Ram,
It has. You're right. It did change. Electric car. The electric car.
Yeah.
Pringles, Strands. astronauts. That's right. The astronaut one with the Pringles. I did remember that.
So, I mean, I hope I haven't taken the show in a wrong direction, but I'm just trying to get people to kind of pay attention, because the Super Bowl
It's the
in
culture.
some ways is
Right.
like a signpost,
Yes.
cultural. This is where we are
Yes.
in our, because remember the great quote by Hercules, which is the only constant is change. So one of the things I like to talk about, well, what's changing? And I thought yesterday's Super Bowl was an incredible insight into what's shifted, how we as a culture, how we as a civilization, how we've shifted. And it's in this COVID thing, it's accelerated a whole bunch of stuff. And so the shift was dramatic to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't there, except for that. The weird part was that Jeep commercial. I mean, honestly, to me, the Bruce Springsteen thing, I mean, that was that was like an old commercial. Like he was out in the middle of Kansas, pretty much, and in an old truck, which didn't make sense to me that it was a Jeep commercial. I was going, I'm confused now, because was it a Jeep truck? Yeah, just didn't know. Anyway.
Well, it's just interesting. So these are my takes on, watching the whole thing, going, wow. And again, the sociologist in me. Sorry if I'm boring all of you, but there's a
Christina, she's sharing her favorites.
Human behavior. And so I was just fascinated by all the dynamics that were going on yesterday. Because to me, it was a sort of I don't know what you call, like an insight, looking through a window as us as a culture and where we are.
Yeah. I see now that she's saying these different commercials, then I remember them. I'm not one. I only pay attention to the one that like really stick out.
Right.
And I remember the Will Ferrell one with the crushing Norway.
Right.
And the people that I was sitting with, the elder, they didn't understand that commercial at all. They were like, what?
Well, again, all of these commercials, it's all focused on millennials now, right?
Yeah, they didn't understand that one. And I kind of didn't either. I was like, what?
Families.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're buying the homes, they're buying the car, they're buying, you know what I mean? They're the demographic now. It used to be us. We used to be the center of attention, and now we're sort of has-beens. So we get all the Viagra commercials,
incontinence,
iron poor blood,
get your bladder,
medicines,
Yeah. Oh, Heather had said the next generation is drinking all that. Yeah, that should have said the old folks are drinking beer. Yeah, right. The old folks are drinking beer. So I don't know.
Go through all these shifts, right? So
all the old folks I know drink liquor.
When we were growing up, right? What was what was the company that was synonymous with taking photographs? Kodak.
Oh, yes, Kodak.
Everything was a Kodak moment. I mean, it was like when copier machines came in. You didn't make a copy, you Xeroxed, right? We came from a time period where companies were so dominant that their company name became the term we used.
Right.
For what we were doing. So we Xeroxed, right?
Well, and a Polaroid.
Right.
Polaroid pictures.
Well, Polaroid, we was synonymous with instant, right?
Yes.
Instant photo.
Yep.
Kodak, right?
That's when it started.
Now.
When it started.
Kodak was an institution for 75 years.
Yeah. Thanks, Christina, for joining us. Polaroid.
So it's the same thing. So what's happening with the younger generation? They're not drinking beer.
No, they're drinking White Claws and all those things.
Right.
I know that.
So these are some of the realities in the corporate world. There's a shift going on.
Yeah, they all want to save calories.
Well, again, they're marketing to another generation.
Yeah.
So
it is changing.
The fact that the beer commercials weren't, none of the beer companies jumped on, and the reason is ROI.
Yeah.
return on investment, right? They realize that all the marketing is going to millennials, and that's a market that their market share they've lost.
Yep. Did you hear about
They're
the
having to readjust their corporate strategies, or they're going to lose?
There, a mattress guy down in Florida bet that the Bucks would win, like $3 something million. He bet on it, and told all the people that were buying mattresses that if the Bucks won, that their mattresses were free.
Wow.
But if they lost, then they had to pay for them.
I see.
But he won big, obviously. Yeah. So he's paid for all those people's mattresses.
I need a new mattress. I should have got in on that.
Should have got in on that.
Of course, it would have cost me the same amount of money to drive down there and haul it back as it would to just buy it. But other than that,
exactly. But
yeah, anyway, so this is it's interesting to sort of take a little snapshot of where we are as a culture. And I just thought the Super Bowl was that little snapshot. And so
yes,
here I am on Monday morning sitting back and okay, what was that? What did I see? What did I observe? What was behind this? What's going on with us? And
last year, okay, so each year the halftime show, I kind of feel bad for anybody that's the performer now because they're just criticized to the max. Like I feel bad for them because last year it was Shakira and J-Lo.
Yeah,
and they just got smither. I mean, people were just like blah 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 blah. And of course, when Janet Jackson that one year, and then so every year it's kind of been terrible because anybody.
They got to think about that though. They have a problem. The Super Bowl has a problem, and here's why. If you've watched music for the last decade, one of the things that's happened to it is become highly sexualized.
Yeah.
Not that sex wasn't talked about when in the 70s and 80s, it just wasn't overt, right? It was like it was woven into songs, but it was poetic, right?
Right.
Like Song of Solomon. It was, it was sort of poetry. Now it's in your face, right? And I think what happened last year, when the two women they so sexualized that like they were in a strip club, like they were. It was just so.
Well, J-Lo just had done that movie about a strip club,
right?
But
Beyonce,
they're just beautiful women.
Cardi B, these aren't subtle anymore. It's graphic, in your face sexualization.
Yeah,
and so the Super Bowl's got a problem because.
Well, I don't think The Weeknd did that though. Did he? I think The Weeknd did something different. I from what I'm reading, I don't know because I didn't watch it yet. But he did something with masks or something, and they didn't like that.
Who can they bring in? Right? That star power. That they can trust. Because what happens is, and this is a sad side of this, is that. Oh God, I'm going to say something that's probably going to offend people, but it's the reality of it. Having been in the business, is entertainers like whores.
Okay. Oh,
they're
nice.
So desperate for attention, they'll sell their soul. I know the behind the scenes world, and the desperate need for attention.
Yes.
They will sell their soul. It's powerful, and you see that. So what happens is in this desperate need for attention, you see people acting. You see it in the movie world. It's like what people don't realize is 90% of the sex tapes that are out there were actually released by the publicists.
Right. I was watching a show about
trying to be scandalous.
I watched a show on that this last week.
See, what you may not realize is that Shakira and J-Lo loved the controversy.
Yeah.
It made they were the center of attention for a whole month after the Super Bowl.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And the reason is because the media loves scandal and it loves.
Oh, yes, they do.
So these artists and the people, the problem, the Super Bowl, NFL's got a problem because who can they trust, right? Who can they trust to go out there at halftime and not like have to be controversial?
Yeah.
And the old guys.
Well, they already did Lady Gaga and
Paul
Madonna
McCartney and the Rolling Stones. They just are. They don't have. They're not one of these. You know what I mean?
They already did it.
No, but I'm saying they don't need to go out there and be sensational. They, you know what I mean? They go out there and they got a problem. Who are they going to put out there now?
Well, right, because they want to they want everyone to like that person. And like The Weeknd, he was like the perfect person, because even I like The Weeknd, and I'm in my age group,
So you
and
know what a writer is?
You
know what a writer is?
A writer?
In the music world, when you sign a contract, there's writers involved, right?
Yeah.
And these writers, I mean, it gets down into the specifics. Like when Diana Ross wanted to do a concert, in her writer, she demanded that her dressing room would be painted pink.
Yes, right.
So they, some groups want M&Ms and so much Jack Daniels. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Well, the NFL now, because of the disasters they've had at halftime, the writers and contracts, I mean, they have got people so tied up because they're so wanting a family show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
and I mean, and so they've got it so buttoned up now after their disasters that you won't even get paid if you go, but who some of these guys won't do the shows.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. If I were a performer at this point, I'm not sure. I'd be like, let's weigh our options here. What are the pros and cons?
Right.
How annihilated can I get and not feel it?
So the big
criticism
takeaway from the Super Bowl halftime show was it was spectacularly unspectacular. Like there was no wow moment in any of it.
Well, and that's sad.
Right.
That's sad. So sad. I mean, I feel bad for performers like that, and including even like the Super Bowl is kind of a performer moment too, right? So. Right. I mean, in itself. So the whole thing is just a performance. And like you're saying, it's to push whatever.
Well, outside of the World Cup, right? It's the most global event, even though it's American football. It's an international. It's the largest single one-day event, where the World Cup, is a whole process.
The score spread, though. Can I just say?
But the Chiefs weren't even. I mean, the thing that, if you're a sports fan, it was a terrible game. Like it was a dud game, because the fact the Chiefs were never in it. Like the Chiefs didn't show up.
Oh,
they didn't match Tampa Bay's energy, and so it was a dud game. And the guys kept talking about how we got Patrick Mahomes and he's going to keep his team in it, and blah blah, and it's going to come down to. It was never even close. You know what I mean? It wasn't a competitive.
Well, yeah, and I can imagine how the team is getting picked apart today about, well, they should have flown down sooner, or they should have done this different, or all these armchair quarterbacks kill me.
Well, then,
like they're going, they walked in, they played the game.
You did hear what happened with Andy Reid's son, right?
I did. Yes.
So you got the night before all that, you've got,
yes,
so there was a bit of there, and that's one of the things that the public, doesn't see. I spent, I've spent my whole life behind the scenes in the NFL, and people don't realize there's these are guys with families and kids and drama, and
yep.
we see them as these superstars, in their uniforms on Sunday, but these are human beings that got all the same trials and tribulations, and that affects,
Yeah, he's due to have his baby too, Mahomes. Like the baby's like right now. So they were worried that she was gonna give birth on the Super Bowl day.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah. Okay, so something bright. Okay, let's talk about brightness. Let's talk about light.
Okay.
What can we take forward for the light of the week? What is it?
The great thing.
So that's over. Okay, so now we're in February. Super Bowl's over. What's next?
Well,
Valentine's Day, but we won't talk about that. Anyway,
Great. You hop from the frying pan into the fire on that one. It was like, what?
Valentine's Day. Ugh. I
Well,
don't like Valentine's Day.
if
I
you've
don't
got,
know why.
all I can say is this: if you live in Kansas City and you have a fireplace, the next 2 weeks is going to be fireplace month. February is going to be fireplace February because it is cold and nasty out there.
Are you going to judge me that I still have my Christmas tree up?
Well, right now you might be, not too far off because I mean it's colder and snowier now than it was at Christmas.
Yes, and I pulled my chair up by the fire, and I had my Christmas lights on the other night.
Okay,
and I was watching a little movie. It was all wintry. I was like, "This is perfect," So don't judge me. I have my Christmas.
I don't judge you because I actually like Christmas. Like I like actually being in a family room or whatever with all the lights and just the Christmas lights on. The ambiance is nice.
Yes, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
So now tonight I'm gonna drink some hot chocolate with marshmallows in it.
Right.
There you go. So the light is just make the best of your life.
Well, so if you've got like bunny slippers.
Uh-huh. Well,
this is that cold weather, you know what I mean, where you can wear your bunny slipper,
So I have
flannel jammies since we all working from home now, or not all of us, but
I have to go to work in a couple minutes, but I'm working from home, and of course during this time,
flannel jammies, bunny slippers, coffee.
And you guys didn't notice it, but I do have my jammies. It's my Cardinals one. It says Cardinals.
So
okay, can I just say it's the St. Louis Cardinals? Sorry.
I actually thought about buying one of those, like in the old days, they used to have those full suits, like I don't even know what you call that, but it's like you climb inside of it and it's got a little flap door in the back.
The onesies, yeah.
Onesies, exactly. I was thinking about buying a red pair of those and then going over to my grandkids' house in my boots and just that on and just watch the look on my grandkids' face, because then I would be like an old grandpa.
Right. I'm starting to feel the grandma thing.
So I won't shave for a week. You know what I mean? I'll just put my red onesie on and then my boots on and walk around.
See, that's what I said last night. I said to my son, I said, okay, I'm officially old now because I brought 2 crock pots with me.
Oh my God.
I didn't just bring one. I brought 2. When you bring 2 crock pots, you're old.
You are.
You're old. I was like, man, I used to bring the fun stuff to a party, but now I'm bringing crock pots. That means it's over.
So we're near the end of our show here. So one of the things, we have to have a reality check, and here's the reality check. We cannot look outside to find sunshine because there ain't any. Our team lost and it's flipping freezing cold out there. It's overcast. There's like no sun anywhere.
Right.
So that means we're going to have to find the sun on the inside. We're going to have to reverse the equation.
We can do it.
Sun from the inside out. We
can do it. Like mugs up, drink some coffee, turn on your favorite something, or read your favorite book. Do something to lift your spirits. You can do it.
The big key to that is, I would say, for the next few weeks, wake up every morning and think of 3 things that you're thankful for.
3 things.
Remind yourself every morning when you get up, what are 3 new things today that I can be thankful for? I'm telling you, it will change your whole perspective for the day, because you will look at what you're grateful for versus what you're.
That's right. That's very good advice.
Happy about. So be thankful.
Right. And crack open that Bible if you've not cracked it open lately.
Well, that's a big thing to be thankful for. That's the greatest gift of all time. So,
and I notice a difference when I'm not reading it and when I am.
Okay.
And it's not, I kidded myself for a long time going, well, I've read it. I know what it says.
Right.
Well, God brings new revelations to scripture sometimes, depending on your season. So just take that in mind.
Well, maybe Thursday we can talk about this more on the subject of the scandal of the Bible, because it's a scandalous story. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
an amazing. I pointed it out on my Facebook page that the Bible is this amazing story over generations of God working through the very people who fail continually. Like they don't live up to God's standards, and He
No.
still uses them. So
Right.
in the
And
Bible,
they don't live up to His standards or the world's standards.
exactly, and yet God works through these broken clay vessels. So that'd be a great subject.
Yes, we'll talk about
on
that.
Thursday nights, because we tend to want to sanitize the whole story, and it's amazing. And the reason why the Gospels are so cool is Jesus is interacting with all these broken and dysfunctional people.
Real people.
Yes.
The real people, not the people that have been put up on the pedestals.
Exactly.
He's interacting with the real people.
Exactly.
And yeah, definitely. He's been working on me on a new thing. And it's called The Artistry of Purpose.
Oh, that's nice.
So he's the creator, right? So he's the artist, but the artistry of purpose is really digging into that and finding out who He created you to be. So yeah.
All right. Well, you have a great week.
You too. Okay, Larry.
Night.
They're all saying hi to each other. Hi, you guys. Bye, you guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. And the day will get better. Snuggle up. Do whatever you got to do. Have a great day. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate you.
All right. You as well.
All right. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Join us Monday mornings at 8:45 a.m. and Thursdays 6:30 p.m.